we have sound in headphones or no?
I can hear you.
I don't have any in mine. Testing.
Yeah, you should be able to hear. I can hear you. Oh, boy. Let me know if you see it on there.
Yeah, my thing is moving so slow.
Hmm?
My phone is like just moving slow as could be.
Oh, yeah. What you got? You got AT&T, Sprint, Verizon.
Keep naming them.
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
What's after that?
I don't have these type of problems normally.
T-Mobile's not bad at all. The other day, AT&T killed everybody. So that was
like a
terrible.
week or two ago, yeah.
And they gave them a $5 credit. Like, yeah.
That's insulting.
Well, you got a lot of people, man.
I know, but still,
$5, dog. What
Just
am I do
like-
with $5?
Yeah, just.
Should
All right.
have got a Samsung, Pink.
No, it's good now, man. It just took a while. I don't normally have this problem. Yeah, the $5 is almost insulting. Like, what can you do with $5? If I didn't have the McDonald's app, my pre-show snack would have been over $5.
A small problem. I got like 40,000 points on that app.
I got 58,000.
Yikes, man.
My goal is to get to 1 million points.
And
I don't know what I'll do with that, but
let's start with $100,000.
my headphones still ain't working.
You can't hear nothing.
Nah.
You want to switch?
No, we're good.
No.
Yeah,
when I leave,
we don't have anything to listen to today, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when I leave, it's gonna be.
Yeah, I could rotate. It's all good though. It's all good.
All right,
You gonna start the show over here? We're just gonna sit here.
Oh, Jesus!
Imagine multiple.
Listen, man, I hit a bitch one time, man, the baby was bouncing all over the bed.
Cut through the texture of pasta, I stretch to the father. My demons can't be stressing my daughter. Sweat beating Hana, know it's a rap. Wet enchilada.
Deion Sanders is the greatest football player, arguably, to ever live. Ed Reed, the greatest safety, arguably, to ever live in the entire universe. All right? Why y'all not going on live? Miami been trashed for fucking how long now? God damn.
I like you got off some skates. I like you got off some skates. I like you got off some skates.
I want somebody in the event, something like, say like, I love oxtail. If I can eat some that tastes like oxtails while I'm down there, just for that moment.
He's on my back, you know what I mean? And, I think, I feel like his thing is like on my on my neck.
I've had two guys.
Same time?
No, I'm not that girl.
Man,
the best
appreciate
motherfucking podcast in Orlando, Florida.
You already know.
We
the
appreciate
Sunshine
it.
State, man.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All righty. As always, we got a pretty good show ahead for you guys today. As you guys can see, we're talking some March Madness. We're in the middle of March. Going to be talking the men's side and the women's side today. All right. Going to be talking some Anthony Edwards. The MJ comparisons have started. They have begun. All right. And Biden-Trump, the rematch. I have no idea how we got back here, but we're back here. And some other good stuff as well.
I'm fascinated by worshiping celebrities.
Oh, it's actually the first thing that we got today. It's actually the first thing we got today. And what's going on, my man? You said you're a coach. Pink didn't tell me like what you do for a living or anything.
This is Coach Q. I coached him at Oviedo High School back in the day, and he's gone on to be a coach in his own right. Football, basketball, girls basketball. Okay. This is our guy.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you're well versed on the women's basketball side that we're going to be talking about. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we'll see when we get there. That's
Well,
good to know.
Neither one of us is well versed, so he could easily pull the wool over our eyes.
Nah,
Hey,
never that. Never
I've
that.
watched the full game this year.
Wow.
Angel
Did
Reese,
you get a free tampon with that?
my future baby mama.
She's recently single, by the way.
Hey, DMs are going to be
I
knocking.
thought she dropped one dude and already moved on to the next one.
She went with Karen Fletcher from Florida State, and then they just recently broke up. She just admitted it.
But I thought she
today.
jumped on another dude real quick.
No, she literally just came out today and said she was single.
But she was already probably cheating, so
I wouldn't do a lady like that, man. I wouldn't do it like that.
she'll do you like that. She did Cam Fletcher like that. They
Teach his
were
own, man.
they were here in Orlando during
Yep.
the FSU LSU game.
Yep.
Like they were
At the
taking
Citrus Bowl.
pictures and whatever as a couple.
Okay.
So-
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Well, before we get into March Madness on the men's side of the bracket, the women's side of the bracket there, and see what you guys did, if you guys did any brackets and all that good stuff, we'll get there. All right. Of course, usually I start the show with something I've been thinking about, and it is in the vein of worshiping celebrities. It's funny that you said that at the top of the show. So I know that I am in the minority on this, and it's okay. It doesn't make me better or worse than anybody, okay? Because a lot of people, when it comes to, especially, our entertainers, our musicians, and all of that stuff, people really wrap themselves, and sports figures, if you will, they wrap themselves into the people in their lives. And I'm not that way. You know what I mean? So, I have somebody in mind, and specifically I'm going to talk about at the end, but just to give you a better idea what I'm talking about, it's just like, like the whole R. Kelly thing is unfortunate, but I just don't care. I'm able to separate the music from the man because the thing is, man, I don't know any of these people. Like, I don't know any of them. Any of them could be doing any goddamn thing.
So you're talking about like somebody's like a super fan of a particular artist, and then the artist does something that's bad, and now they've got I don't know, what do they feel? Shame, embarrassed? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but yes, the
gotta-
masses will shame you into loving their product or being a fan of them, whether it's a sports figure, whether it is an artist, or somebody who paints pictures. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is, but yeah, they shame you for still, listening to that person or going to spend money and watch that person play a sport or what have you, because of what that person did. And my thing is, like I said, I don't know these people. And then at the top of the top, like for example, some people would not listen to R. Kelly for what he did or supposedly did or what have you or whatever did do. And then because they have this infinity for fucking Michael Jackson, they just dismiss whatever he got going on. They dismiss him under the rug.
Keep listening to Michael Jackson. And
Another one you bring up, the Diddy situation, the same thing.
Yeah, Diddy the same thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy who not in that vein, but you could say it's similar. It's a guy in Orlando. All right. And his name is Armstrong. All right. And Armstrong is an artist, and he's a street artist. He's he's a street rapper or whatever, a gangster rapper. That's the genre that he's in or whatever. And, a lot of people in the city will say, and there's proof or whatever you want to say, may be proof, is proof, that he snitched on a guy or two or whatever to get out of his situation and to get out of prison. That's almost like a death sentence in hip hop and rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's almost like raping 30 women. You know what I mean? Seriously.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I just could care less. I couldn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people were ashamed because now Armstrong, he's out. He's been out for a little while now, but now he's trying to make a comeback. He just had a big show. No, people didn't think it would be a big show, but he actually sold the show out about 2 weekends ago. He got one of the hottest songs out that's in the city, but a lot of people are like telling people, hey, don't listen to this song. If you listen to this song, you're supporting that, and you like rats and this and that. No, man, I just like what I perceive to be good music. That's all I like. I like good music. If you have good music, I'm going to listen to it. The one guy, the 6'9" guy, didn't like his music. But if he made good music, I would have been listening to it. Because I just don't give a damn.
He wasn't capable of making any good music. that guy was garbage.
Like you don't know any of these people. Even Kodak. Like everybody know Kodak is my favorite artist out of all the young guys out right now in all that case. Lil Wayne is my GOAT. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care what these guys do. When Lil Wayne had that picture where he kissed Birdman, whatever, that didn't make me feel gay because I'm around here saying Lil Wayne is the best. I still said the next day, I still said, look, but you know how many guys, I was in school, I was in college at the time, you know how many guys was running around saying, oh, you like Lil Wayne, you gay now. How can you like Lil Wayne? They were just saying he was the GOAT a day before that. Then the day after, it's like, oh, there's no way you could like this guy. You know, I'm like, man, listen, man, it's the music. It's the music. If he was the GOAT to me yesterday, he's the GOAT to me tomorrow. He'd be the GOAT 10 years from now, which is the case. I just don't care about any of that shit, man.
Well, I think okay, a couple points. Like for me, like when I think of like celebrity worship, I think of that something like you do when you're like young. And you're like a kid, and you get into like whether it's an athlete or maybe a musical performer, and you're like that's your person. I feel as you get older, you just like recognize talent or art for what it is, and that's it. Like I don't really care what a person does off the field or whatever, or when they're not making music, and I just take it as that. Like to me, when somebody does something, makes a movie, a show, music, gives us athletic performance, like they're giving that to the public domain for us to enjoy and do whatever. They're not necessarily giving us their private life, and we don't ask for that. We don't need to take it. So if somebody like releases it, like R. Kelly's got a catalog of incredible music. It's like he might have done some horrible shit, and now he's in jail, and he's got to deal with all that. Yeah. We get to keep the songs. Yeah. We get to keep the songs. That's just the trade-off. They're part of like the public domain of music and entertainment and all that. And so I'm with you on that. It's it's just music, movies, athletic. It's once it's out, you can't put it back in the bottle.
Yeah.
And you don't need to. That's why I always feel weird about the Reggie Bush stuff has been in the news lately. Like people kind of standing on him to say give the Heisman back because everyone's getting paid now. But like he won the Heisman. Like we saw the games. Like he was that guy in the 2005 or 6 or whatever the hell year it was. It's like we can't unsee that. Like the fact that he doesn't have the Heisman, maybe personally he feels done wrong in some way. But it's like as far as I'm concerned, he's the Heisman guy. He had that season. We can't put that back, and it's just stupid to try.
Yeah,
you have to move forward in life.
That was really weird.
You can't take things away.
No. That's it, man. That's it. That was on my mind. Thought it was interesting. Hopefully, I won't get shunned for that.
Or canceled.
Yeah. We already lost 2 listeners, so.
Did we?
I don't
because
know.
Of that?
I was just joking.
Fairweather fans.
But yes, on to March Madness here. All right. Again, man, we're in the season here. And let's start on the men's side here, and of course we got UConn being the favorite. UConn is the last 10 to 15 years they've been very highly competitive.
No, not really.
No?
The arc, we're talking about the men, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying winning championships, but I'm saying competitive.
UConn's, to me, and I grew up in Connecticut. When I was growing up in the late 80s, before I went to Florida State, UConn was like the Big East doormat. Mm-hmm. Like you had the great Patrick Ewing, Georgetown teams. Villanova had some teams. Syracuse had some teams. Connecticut was the automatic win in the Big East. They were the team that all the good teams pounded.
You schedule your homecoming, you better be UConn.
Then entered Jim Calhoun, and that guy built that program from nothing into a monster. Like literally, as soon as I left to go to Florida State, they started getting good.
Yeah.
And during his prime, I believe they won 3 titles with him. Things like that they normally do got a little rough at the end. And then they've kind of been up and down since. They had one shining moment with Kevin Ollie where they won a title, but then he had some issues and they
2014.
fell apart. And then they hired Danny Hurley. And I thought that this was a fantastic hire. I'm a huge fan of Bob Hurley Sr., the St. Anthony's coach. Read a lot of stuff about him, seen a lot of documentaries. In case you're not aware, that's Bobby Hurley, the old Duke guy's father. Coached probably the best high school coach that's ever existed in high school basketball. And Danny's his other son, played at Seton Hall, has been bouncing around coaching high school, coaching college. And UConn hires him, and he's just been fantastic. And he's like his dad. He's a super intense guy, kind of that like northeastern New York swagger thing going. And he's built an absolute monster. And Dion actually paraphrased his quote earlier this year. About 3 or 4 years ago, in his first year at the job, they were getting beat, and it was very mediocre. He was at a press conference after a game, and he was clearly frustrated. And he's not a guy that hides frustration. And he just kind of was like, there wasn't even a question pending in the interview, and he's just like, "If you're gonna get us now, because it's coming." And you won't be able to do it again. And now he said it. Like two years later, they were champions last year, rolled through the tournament, been really good all year. And to me, that's the team I want to win. I think they have as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah.
On the men's
So
side.
so if you're filling out your bracket, that needs to be your winner in
ride
most
the
brackets.
Huskies.
Yeah.
Ride the Huskies.
all the way through. I'm a huge UConn fan myself on both sides, men and women, and everything you're saying is absolutely accurate. I think Danny's the right man for the job for that one for sure.
Yeah.
They play great team basketball. Nobody is selfish. Everybody gets the glory.
And they just play so damn hard. Like, they just wear people down with intensity. And they don't. Like, I don't feel, maybe the draft will show us otherwise, but this is not a team that has, like, 3 lottery players.
They got
running
one,
around.
The freshman Stephon Castle, number 5. That's it.
He'll be good.
But they don't go away from the modern game. In today's game, there's positionless basketball. They use the big man.
Yeah.
They used last year Sonogo, and then this year Klinging. So
Yeah.
Where did Sonogo go?
he was G League for the Chicago Bulls, and
Okay.
then Hawkins last year, New Orleans
He was with the
Pelicans,
Pelicans.
and then Andre Jackson for the Bucks.
He just had that crazy dunk where his head was above the rim.
Yeah, that was him.
On the
Yeah.
putback dunk.
So they had 3 guys that go into the league off last year's championship team, but none of them like came in and like get rookie of the year or those type of guys. I mean, they're good basketball players. They're tough and they're effective. And this team feels very much the same. There's not a guy that's going to go in the top 5 on this roster. Castle's a freshman,
yeah.
and he's probably got the most,
Cachet.
upside,
Yeah.
cachet. But I love Newton. I just
Oh,
think
yeah,
he's
yeah.
just
He does the
a
Mr.
tough
Do It
ass-
All. He does
Yeah, he's just one of
Mr.
these
Triple
guys. He had a
Double.
couple triple doubles. He's like a guard. And again, I'm not sure how it's going to translate for him. He's not like an elite shooter. He doesn't seem like he's an elite athlete, but he's just
He's a
ball
glue
player.
guy. Yeah, ball. Yeah, exactly.
Just a
A
ball
glue guy and
player.
do whatever you need him to do.
So outside of UConn, what's a team that you would be shocked if they had an early round exit?
Purdue. Again, I mean, they showed us last year they lost to a 16 seed, but I would say Purdue. They got an easy bracket in my opinion.
Yeah. Easy bracket and a really solid team.
Or they was the number 2 overall. Number 2 overall.
Yeah, they've
number
been
1.
top 4 all year.
All year,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And they have a big man that
Zach Edey. Oh goodness.
he's to me like an old school big man. I don't know how he translates in the NBA.
I think he plays overseas.
Yeah, yeah. He's probably done enough that somebody will draft him and he'll get a chance in the league. But I think more than likely he'll be an overseas guy.
Exactly. This is gonna be a second year wins player of the year. So back-to-back years.
But like again, you're not really an NBA guy.
Yeah. And is he their best player?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably so.
By far.
Yeah.
Okay. And so are you guys bracket guys? Have you put in a few brackets?
One of my coworkers hit me up with a bracket challenge, so I filled it out. I got UConn winning. You know who my favorite guy to watch though in college basketball is Rob Dillingham.
Rob Dillingham from Kentucky.
Yeah,
That boy nice.
Just to watch,
He is nice.
He's a guard. He's really slick. He's a scorer. He's fearless. Like I
He
really like
reminds me
watching.
of SGA from the Thunder.
Yeah. I can see
he's
him with that, but yeah. He to me he's the best watch like as an individual player in a tournament.
How many must-watch guys are in this tournament?
Not many.
Not many. The boys are not many. Not many. It's not.
And I think that's one of the like there's a momentum we're going to address, I guess, momentarily, but like there's this notion that the women's game is more appealing and the women's tournament is got more storylines. And there's just not a lot of like fantastic players in the NCAA men's basketball, that are just like, hey, I want to see that guy play and see what's going on. So from that perspective, I kind of get that storyline.
Is it the players or is it the product that you talk about all the time?
To me, you look at it as a product, and it's taken a little while to get here, but if you look at the top, projected 10 picks or so, like a big chunk of those are not playing college basketball. They're going, into your overtime elite programs. They're going into the Ignite. They're guys that are overseas. So you're not seeing like a lot of just premier high-level talent guys in the NBA. And I don't think this year in general it's believed to be a great draft class.
It's not.
We're not looking, even including the foreign guys and other guys, it's not a class that people are, salivating over.
Yeah, it's the next two classes that people
with Cooper Flag.
Yeah,
next,
Cooper is in the next one. Then there's another young guy. That's
they got the Boozer twins. The Boozer twins, Cameron.
Twins. One of them's kind of notably better than
the
other, I believe.
He's number one, and he was behind Cooper until Cooper moved up until he reclassed. I think it's Cameron Boozer.
All three of those guys, are they planning to take the college route? Do we know that yet?
Cooper's going
to Duke.
Okay.
And then what if the Boozers declared?
They haven't declared yet.
Okay.
They have offers from every team in the country.
Sure.
So it's really for them. They're going to make a decision whether to go the college route or pursue an alternative route.
Right.
So we'll see what's up with that.
Okay. Boozer, Carlos Boozer.
His twin sons.
Yeah. Are they the real deal?
One of them is the real deal. Cameron's the real deal. Caden, he's not bad. He's just not as good as his brother. Yeah, he's not.
They're forwards, guards,
like skilled bigs. Skilled bigs. Yeah, I think they're like 6'8" or 9.
One of them 6'8", one is 6'4", and they're real.
The
deal.
better one's the taller one. Right? Yeah.
They just won the championship against Oak Ridge in the championship.
Yeah. You know who coached? I don't know if he still coaches it. Nate Moran's brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Coaches what?
Coaches the
Boozer
brothers
twins
down in South Florida.
Oh okay.
Yeah. At the school.
Nate. I'm sure he's seen him. He's had to go down there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, he's familiar. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, yeah. So you already pretty much referenced it there. So there's a lot of different notes here that they're not comparing the women's game to the men's game. For example, there's one article I read this morning that said, so far as of right now, the women's the tournament, the ticket sales are outselling the men's by 5 times. By 5 times the amount. That's
wild.
Yeah, that's very considerable. So they, at least these top teams are gonna. You're talking about packed house sellouts at the LSU's, the South Carolinas, and Caitlin Clark's Iowa's team, all of that good stuff. And so just from the before we get into the actual tournament, let's just knock this out talking about the women's game versus the men's game and the excitement. Is this here to stay, or is this because of this group of women that they have? It is making it this way. The Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reese's, the girl at USC. Is it because of the players, or is it the product of the women's game is really overtaking and outshining the men's, and this may be here to stay?
I think it's both. The product that's out there, and it's helping grow the women's game, and then these girls are more athletic than they've been normally. Caitlin's definitely, her range, the NIL is definitely helping them too, like the NIL, and I think the product, the women are staying in college. I think they have no choice but to stay, and they're just growing. Their development is getting better and better. Like the Angel Reese's of the world, she accepts the world of like the being a villain, being a bad guy. Juju Watkins is a freshman averaging 30 points, and people like that. I'm a UConn fan, and I like Paige Beckers. She plays good ball too. So as the time goes on, I think the girls game will continue to grow and putting out a better product than the boys because it's one and done with the boys.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you look at it, the fact that these girls really don't have a viable option to leave makes this like in the last 20 plus years. Could you ever have a men's scenario where you're going to have the equivalent of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese play in a final and then both come back the next year?
You're not.
Like any men's player is gone.
Yeah.
They're in the draft and see you later. And that now you've had this situation where you kind of had these two big names that everyone became acquainted with last year, continuing to be a story this year. And I guess the thing that you can say is, as far as building on it, I've always been cynical and skeptical about the women's game growing. I think the key to this is the Juju girl. Because she's a freshman, and if she stays 3-4 years, she's putting up crazy numbers. She's probably on a track where if this stayed, she'd probably chase Caitlin Clark's numbers.
Yeah, she's on pace.
May not
she's on
get
pace.
it.
No, she's on pace.
So, yeah.
So with that whole thing is you have to be 22 going into your senior year for them to leave. So she has to stay 3 years until they change the rule. Another big thing people don't talk about is the WNBA. They only got 12 teams. So since it's not an expanded league, the girls have to stay. Otherwise, you would have girls trying to go their first year and not make a roster. So the first round of the WNBA, I think they consider the first 10 picks are lottery picks, or the first 6 are lottery picks, and they're not guaranteed. After that, they're not guaranteed a roster spot. So that's why I think
after the first 6 or so picks, you're not even guaranteed.
You're not even guaranteed a roster spot.
So there's no guaranteed money at all.
Correct. That's why they go overseas. They make more money overseas than they do here in America.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get into that on the back end. I wanted to make sure we stay here on the college level first, because that's a huge thing, that WNBA piece. So you have the biggest women's college basketball player right now, of course, is Caitlin Clark. All right. Now, in the men's world of basketball, our stars, our superstars, we require them to win, or they're just trash. And talk about them. That's how we talk about them. Correct. If you don't win, you're trash. And then even on the college level, and then on the collegiate level, and then if you didn't win on the collegiate level, you're already coming in with like heavy questions. Like, even though Ben Simmons was the number 1 overall pick, his team not making the tournament, there was already talk like, man, he couldn't even get his team to the tournament. Man, what is going on with this guy? So if Caitlin Clark does not win, she's the no doubt number 1 best player in women's college basketball. And apparently, I mean, what they're the number 2 seed in that bracket. What are
they're the second. They're number 1 seed,
number 1,
but the second number 1.
The second number 1. Yeah. So if she doesn't win, what is that going to say about her, or will she even be looked at in that way?
Well, I already had this conversation with multiple people. I think she's the greatest scorer of all time. So people are going to question, can she really win? She's not in that conversation for the greatest of all time because she hasn't won a title yet, which sucks because everybody think you should go by titles. We all think she's a great player, but how great is she if she doesn't win a title? That's how I've been looking at a lot of stuff for her.
Again, not following this, like, is the supporting cast, the rest of the Iowa team, like, if they didn't have her, would they be a tournament team even?
They would probably be. They'd been an NIT, in my honest opinion. Right. They'd probably be an NIT or 15, 14 seed, something like that.
Right. So you're really elevating an otherwise mediocre roster.
Correct, she is.
To a top seed in the tournament.
My question is, if somebody's so great of a player, why don't others come
join her? You're in Iowa, that's the answer.
Okay. I've never been to Iowa, so I couldn't tell you.
Watch Field of Dreams. And then just fucking.
Do you go to school to? Don't you go to school to hoop and play ball or whatever sport it is?
But if you could do that in a better place, you would.
She decided to stay home in Iowa.
She's an Iowa person, no?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I get why she stayed, but you're saying why don't other great players maybe go play with her?
Yeah.
Because they're not from Iowa and they don't want that life. Like, you could go to other places and just have a better quality of life.
Well, Connecticut is not much better, from my understanding.
Well, that's low-key. That's funny because when I was talking earlier about the Jim Calhoun era on the men's side of Connecticut basketball, my sister went to UConn. And I was in college at Florida State, and I went up to visit my sister at UConn. And I could not believe how utterly boring that campus was. But you're thinking, you're like, how did Jim Calhoun convince Ray Allen from South Carolina, Emeka Okafor from Texas, Khalid Al-Amin from Minnesota, Kevin Ollie from L.A., Danielle Marshall from Seattle, Rip Hamilton from Pennsylvania to come there and play? Kemba Walker out of New York City. That is an underrated miracle that he built that program from nothing because there was no heritage there. There was no great, history to tap into. And, I mean, not only did it, and it wasn't like he just said, hey, we're going to just recruit the Northeast and get Boston and New York kids that can play and come here. He went nationwide and pulled people from everywhere. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like there's no parallel to it. I mean, it's really ridiculous if you've ever been to that campus because it's that boring.
I haven't.
It's like it's about 20 minutes outside of Hartford, but like when you're on the campus, you feel like you could be in Iowa. There's just kind of like rolling farm fields, and there's nothing like connected or fun. Like, dude, it's miserable.
Yeah. Well, I plan on going one day.
Please do.
To what, the UConn campus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Get out of
catch a game.
Florida. Get out of Florida.
Yeah. So what else we got here? We have South Carolina, who is the number 1 overall seed. Are they the heavy favorites?
Yep. They're undefeated. They're 32-0 right now.
Yeah, well, they almost lost. I mean, they probably should have lost.
Yeah.
I was watching that game. So it's 2 games I watched.
But
But
it's about winning, Bubba.
I mean,
about winning.
Yeah, but I mean,
almost don't count
unless
it's nuclear bombs and hand grenades.
I was at the airport. That was an egregious last play.
That's funny.
But so, is there a star player on that team, or is that just a collection of really good players?
They play good team basketball. They play good. They got a center they build around, and everything else they good.
Well, would you agree that the star of that team is the coach?
Dawn Staley, yes.
She's really the star.
Yeah, because they built a really good program there for over the past 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've been really
longer than that.
Probably longer
with
than
Asia Wilson. Yep.
Yeah.
So they good.
Okay.
What now? You mentioned being a UConn fan on the women's side. Like for a long time, they were the team.
Correct.
And Gino's still there, but like, what do you feel has kind of happened there where they've kind of dropped a level or so?
The drop level injuries for the past 3 to 4 years. There's been a lot of injuries. Like this year, we have 6. Well, UConn has 6 players that's out. If you look at their roster, like out of those 6 players, 3 of them are starters. So last year, Paige Beckers missed. Year before that, I can't think of the name, but they out. AZ is one of the best shooters in the country. She's out this year. They haven't had a whole team.
So 3 regular starters that have basically missed the whole year?
Correct. No, they got 6 players. Well, 6 players are out. All 6 was going to make an impact. All 6 was going to make an impact.
So fully healthy, what would have been their ceiling?
What I think national championship easily.
Man.
They easily like that because they can go 10 deep with that roster that they have.
So, what should we expect out of the LSUs and USCs? Those are sort of the fan favorites that people have kind of latched on to.
So, unfortunately, USC is pretty good too, but Iowa, LSU, and UCLA, they all in the same bracket.
Yeah.
So one of those teams, well, 2 of those teams won't get there.
So Iowa
is a 1 seed. LSU is a 3 seed.
And South Carolina?
No.
Oh.
UCLA.
UCLA. Okay.
Yeah, they're all in the same region, so they won't make it. They won't make it to
like a Final Four.
They won't make it to Final Four. Only one of them gonna make it to Final Four. They can go to Elite 8, but
yeah.
So if you're gonna have a rematch of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark,
you can't
potentially in a
that is Elite 8
game or Elite 8 game.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. How good is USC with the Juju girl?
Good with her or without?
No, with her. Like, I mean,
she's
do
like
they have
that.
a chance to?
I don't think they have. I don't think they're gonna win it all. I don't think they're gonna. They don't got enough, but they're Elite 8 for sure.
Elite 8
for sure.
Outside chance at the Final Four.
Outside chance, yes, because they'll match up with UConn. But I think so. She's really good enough to get them there. I don't think they have a chance to win it all though.
UConn and USC are in the same bracket.
They're in the same region. They can't meet each other.
What now? Where's South Carolina? The undefeated
they're up
team
north.
from?
They're not up north. They're in the Albany region. So they're in Albany, which is South Carolina. So that's what it's called Albany, but their games are in South Carolina.
I know they recently almost lost a game, but if you had to give us 2 or 3 teams that you think could really get South Carolina in the right circumstance, who would they be?
UCLA. I think UCLA can get them. Stanford, because they got 2 bigs. They already demolished UConn. I'm a UConn. I think UCLA and Stanford give them the best chance.
So none of the other teams were LSU.
LSU. I think LSU too. LSU. They've seen them 2 times already. LSU just shoots themselves in the foot, so I think they would have it there.
I'm not that big on LSU's team.
LSU's coach is a shitty human being.
Kim Monk, I'm not a fan of hers. They got on that team they got too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. You know, everybody wants the ball, everybody wants to score, and you know, Angel Reese, she's the alpha, but everybody else want the ball too. You know, so
isn't she the same coach that coached Brittany Griner?
Brittany Griner at Baylor, yes sir.
Who refused to really say much about her when she was in prison.
Yeah,
that's why I say she's a shitty human being.
Yeah,
and then her reaction to the dust up during the LSU game.
Yeah, I wish she was hoping that was Angel Reese. You saying you're a player up for failure, in my opinion. Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
You know, 6'7" is 6'7". I'm not trying Cardoso, and I'm a man. Nah, I'm good.
I just don't.
Is her point that because she feels like Angel Reese would have roughed her up more, or like?
I think her point was Angel Reese was taller and bigger, so she may not have done that to somebody who's taller. Flage is like 5'10",
like
5'11".
her size. Like basically pick somebody your size.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
Hey, at least it wasn't your Pornhub account.
Oh man,
would have been a little livelier.
Yeah, sorry about that. Don't have no country song, but yeah, Kim Mulkey. I mean, I think she's not a coach. She's a good coach, but some of her antics it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, she falls into the same category as Pat Summitt, who I once railed against. I saw a documentary of Tennessee coach Pat Summitt, and the blindside guy, Michael Orr, actually tweeted me back.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Yeah, because I said something about, I think I said that she looked like an ugly dude or something, and he was like, hey, that's not cool. But it was cool because it was true.
But Pat's dead.
That's okay, too?
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Okay.
But what I'm saying is, in the context of those two particular people, I don't think either one was like a good person, and I don't understand how players keep going to those teams.
The same reason people kept going to Bobby Knight.
But eventually it dried up. Like, he stopped getting good players. And that's why, I mean, like in Indiana, he couldn't get high-level guys to go to Indiana. And it's like I felt like Tennessee, as long as Pat Summitt was there, they kept getting high-level players. And Mulkey seems to just go strength to strength, even though you're a turd. I just don't get that.
Well, you know, Louisiana's a great place to be, especially if you're a college student.
Yeah. Better than Iowa, ain't it?
Huh?
Better than Iowa.
I've never been there. I want to go to Bourbon. Yeah, down there too.
That's an experience.
Man, I thought you would have been to all these places.
No, I don't go. I mean, I had the opportunity, but I just just decided to go. But also, when you go in recruiting, they tell you stuff that you want to hear, especially if you college kid going to this, going to that.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
Hey, we can offer you this, we can offer you that. So
yeah.
Kobe says that destination comes second to playing time in recruitment. Number one is, am I going to play? Number two is this a shithole?
Well, I mean that is true, but also they got to look at now that how much money I'm getting.
Oh yeah, that plays a factor.
That plays a factor too.
That plays a factor now. That's probably number one now.
Yeah.
No,
well,
but
let Nick
to me,
Saban
like, when you look at Iowa, like that whole situation, as far as other high-level elite recruits going to play with Caitlin Clark, Iowa's not an attractive destination. I don't know how much NIL money Iowa would have in relation to other schools. And then my other point, if you're going there, you're not going to supplant her as being the person. So whatever resources they have, NIL, whatever, marketing, it's all her. And unless you're going there on the same timeline she is, you don't want to be there after her. Like, and then you're playing with the rest of the NIT crew girls. Like, that's not the answer. My point is, it is a tough sell to get other elite recruits who might not be from Iowa to go to that school and play. When other schools, let me go play for Don Staley, or let me go up to UConn and play with Gene. Like, there's other options that are probably more appealing than to go to Iowa.
I'm not sure I find that true because they just got the second-rated best point guard in 2026. I think she's from Texas, something like that. Yeah.
Also, you got to think about it, too. Even if it's just a year or two you catch with Caitlin, I mean, you can always just transfer. I mean, these people are transferring.
Yeah, you can.
Like, flies shitting on cars, so it's weird.
That's a new metaphor or analogy I've never heard. That's a new one for me. That's
Flies,
a new.
It's just happening all over the place, man.
The birds usually do the car shitting. Yeah. Bubba's got fly shit on his car.
I get lucky sometimes with the birds.
Have you ever been shit on by a bird?
No.
Not a girl.
What?
Oh, wait. All right. Yeah.
It's supposedly good luck if a bird shits on you.
I'll take my luck somewhere else.
I would too.
So, is the USC girl? Is she the one that's going to take the mantle from Caitlin?
Yes, she's already. Yes, I believe she's gonna. And I could be wrong, but this is my theory. I think she's gonna be the one that changes the women's game to where you can leave early. She's that good.
Can she take it this year?
No,
is there an avenue?
Nah, this
even if Caitlin fizzles out early and USC makes a run to the championship, you don't think that's enough?
Nah, because Caitlin's already done her groundwork, so it's hard to. You can't just. Nah, this is not gonna happen right now.
Yeah. Yo, what you think?
You mean take over this year?
Yeah, take the mantle as the best player in college basketball.
Nah,
what if
she
she
can't.
wins it all as a freshman?
That'll go into next year then.
Huh?
That'll be going into
that'll
roll
next
into
year,
next
yeah.
year. She just there's
See,
nothing she can do.
in the men's world, it doesn't work like that, man.
College wise?
Yes, college wise.
Can you give me an example?
Like Carmelo. Like Carmelo wasn't the best player in college basketball going into that tournament, but winning that tournament and being the best player, he became the best player in college basketball.
I'm not sure.
That year.
I would have to go back.
If
Kimber
anything,
Walker.
Kimber Walker may give you a
Kimber
best
Walker
point.
is another
Kemba Walker
example.
didn't play with.
No, I'm naming
That-
another player.
I don't think he was the best player, but he helped his stock. He's helped his stock in the draft to go up. I don't think you can just surpass somebody.
Wait, we're talking Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah.
He was like hugely regarded and like.
So is this USC guy.
What I'm saying is I think it's just different. Like he came into Syracuse as like, okay, this guy's gonna be in the lottery, super high, maybe just behind LeBron, maybe. And I think that was basically, that was the thing. And then he performed up to the level, and then Syracuse won. I don't think Syracuse had won maybe ever before. Or
maybe not.
in
And
any
I mean,
modern
if you're
era.
talking about him, look at Wade. Wade was in that same class.
Wade was in the same class, yeah.
So he may have surpassed Wade.
Yeah.
But Wade, though, he was that like slow building guy, like
Correct.
because he didn't have that coming out of high school thing. Like he built, and he was that guy as you're watching that tournament unfold. And I think they made a Final Four run, and he was insane. But you're watching it like going, "Who is this guy?" Where you came into that season going, "Oh, what's up with this Carmelo Anthony guy? I got to see him. He's supposed to be something special."
Another person you use same thing with Steph Curry. That run he made was magical. He had LeBron at that game. He had D-Wade at those games.
Yeah.
So Steph.
Yeah. As far as helping draft stuff,
I don't think it could really happen this year because there's been, again, and think about the context of the women's game. Like you've had a lot of people that have got into this because of Caitlin Clark, and that's their entry point and their reason for being in this. You're not going to supplant her in 1 year. Now she's going to be in the draft next year because she's out of college eligibility. I think like if, let's say Juju has a good run, makes that Elite Eight, maybe makes a Final Four, I think it's one of those things we get to the end of the tournament and people are like, wow, incredible career by Caitlin Clark, but here's next up for next year.
So I got to clarify that. She has one more year because of COVID. She already said she's coming out. She already said she's going to leave. Caitlin Clark, she does have 1 year, but she's already, said she's coming out.
So she could have taken a COVID
Correct.
year. What about Angel Reese?
She's in the same boat. Right now she hasn't declared yay or nay whether she's coming back or going.
Okay.
So let's transition that into the WNBA talk. Because Pink and I, we talked about this on the show before. We'd love to get your perspective on it. Why does all of the women, they get so huge in the college game, and they just simply die in the WNBA?
I think the game is faster and it's more physical than they think that. Because think about it, when you're in college, you're the man or you're the woman, or the case may be, and you get somebody on your level, and your work that you've done may not be as good as what you are going against now. So, that's how I look at it.
That doesn't do it for me.
What do you think?
I guess what he said, like,
doesn't do it for me.
the kind of the twofold thing that we're saying is, like, if you kind of like wind back in time, like there's been a number of girls over time, like going back maybe to Cheryl Swoops, that develop like a great name in college and like get on like the national sports radar, and then like more often than not they get in the WNBA, and it's not that they're stinking it up and don't do well in that league, but the audience doesn't follow. Like you'll have people watching this March Madness for Clark, for Reese, for Juju, and then it's like your only going to retain a small percentage of that fan
Like me.
base when you're in the WNBA.
Like I only watched college basketball for Brittany Griner at that time. Like I was watching like most of her games.
Griner, not Grinder.
Grinder.
She might be on the other app.
Like I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna grind my tree. You know? But listen, I was only watching for her. And when she went to WNBA, I just forgot she existed.
Because how many networks are there for college basketball? So
Yeah.
and you get in WNBA, there's not as many networks.
Oh, that's a good point.
So how can you watch something that's not on TV?
Yeah.
I just happen to find the networks because I do all my research and go on YouTube and go on Fire Stick and all that stuff. But like, there's not many. The NBA is not networking the WNBA as much as I think they should. You know, so
no. What? Okay, so here's a question I don't know the answer to. So I know ESPN carries a certain amount of WNBA games, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, if we go with the NBA, so you'll have, ESPN or TNT will have certain games every night that are available. But, like, if you're in a market like Orlando, like, there's I forget the name of the channel, but, like, we could watch pretty much every Magic game.
Yeah.
If we're in South Florida, we could watch every Heat game. And we also have accessibility to, like, Spurs versus Minnesota or whoever's the TNT game. I don't pay enough attention to even know, like, do the WNBA teams even have like decent local TV deals?
They do. They do. They do have that. But it's also like, do the people want to see baseball around that time, or do they want to watch women's basketball? So it's like ESPN will be losing money if they don't have the viewers, so they just give baseball instead. You know, so.
So a lot of, like, the majority of so most nights of the WNBA season, there's not even like an ESPN game.
Correct.
You're really you'd have to be in the local market or do something funny with your Fire Stick to follow a team.
I find that unfortunate, but other people don't.
I don't, but
I mean, teachers don't.
No, but
I like basketball.
I get what you're saying, though. I mean,
it has to be the product because the networks are choosing something different because people are telling you they don't want to watch this product or they prefer something else over this, right?
I mean, if you're losing to baseball, you're not in good.
Yeah, because baseball is not a great product to watch on television.
Correct.
You know, and even their numbers have been declining over the years. They've had to do
watching the damn dugout.
Now people say going to a baseball. I've been. It's not. I believe what they say. Whatever. I just whatever they say going is different. But yeah. So it has to be the product on the court. You asked me what do I think it is? I have no fucking clue. I really don't.
I mean, we don't see the slam dunks. We don't see the flashiness in women's game. They just play ball. And like, if you looked at I watched the championship game. They had millions and millions of views. The Aces versus the Liberties team. You know, New York versus Las Vegas. So that game in particular had the views. Okay. Sometimes people don't want to watch these boring games. It'll be like watching the Hornets versus the Pistons. Nobody want to see that shit on TV. I don't want to see that.
It's funny you mentioned that because there's only a couple of teams I wouldn't want to watch, and those are the couple of teams. If LaMelo was out there, and I'm not doing absolutely anything.
I think that's an interesting point, though, because like when you get to the playoffs, you're watching because it matters. When you're just watching like a random Wednesday night NBA game, like to be honest, like I'm okay, who's playing? So like, you know, if the San Antonio's playing, I'm gonna watch Wemby because I'm fascinated with that.
Yeah.
But if the Hawks are playing, honestly, there's nobody on the Hawks I really care to see, to go out of my way to see.
No, but
Minnesota's
they have been good in the past.
They've been good in the past, but I'm just saying from that mental viewership thing, like I'm not going out of my way to watch the Hawks, but I'll watch right now. I'll watch Minnesota. I'll watch Golden State just because I'm a Steph guy, and I'll definitely watch San Antonio, like automatic because of those guys that are in that game. But there's other teams that like I'm not
watching the Raptors. Somebody.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like, that's in any particular. That's in any particular season though. Like
what I'm saying, like the next point of that is, and my critique of the women's, you don't have the equivalent of Ant or Wemby or somebody that's just a spectacle to watch in most NBA
But they
games.
were just that in a year or two ago in college. That's my point.
They're not dunking the ball.
No. You understand.
But
Angel Reese, I watched the entire women's college basketball game for Angel Reese alone. right? Just last week. A year from now, I will not do that. And there are millions of other people who watch that same game. I was watching it actually on YouTube. There's like fucking thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people commenting and this and that, and LSU and Angel Reese. A year from now, when she goes to WNBA, none of those people are going to watch or care.
Is it you don't want to watch or you can't watch because it's not on TV for women?
Well, I was watching on YouTube. You see what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. WNBA is not on TV enough for people to watch.
I think that's an excuse. That's an excuse. No. It could be a valid reasoning. Let me change that. It could be a valid reasoning, but I don't think that is the reason. I think it has to be something else. You could be right. I'm not going to dismiss it because that does make sense. But it has to be something else because I was just watching this person. If you want to watch a person, if the NBA, if this was 1960s or whatever, and before the NBA was on network television, I'm going to find a reason or find a way to watch WNBA. Just like I found a way to watch Angel that day. I wanted to watch. There was a big game. They said it was a big game. I had time. I got to find a way to watch this Angel.
My argument to that is that actually watching these players is not all that compelling. But when they're in the college game and they create a buzz, and you start hearing this name, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Like as a sports fan, there's a curiosity. Let me see what's going on. What's up with this? That's how it was for me with Brittany Griner. Like you kept hearing the name, like, okay, this girl's like 6'8",
yeah,
like she's
that's
done.
exactly what it was.
And then it's finally like, well, let me check it out.
And then they kept saying maybe she could play in the NBA, all of this stuff. Like I have to see this.
Yeah, that was.
But so I watched a Baylor game.
Yeah,
and like.
Okay, let me
she
ask you
was
something.
Good,
so
but I don't need to see that again.
Okay, so did you guys watch the All-Star Weekend this year, NBA?
I watched NBA. Yeah,
I watched
so
5 minutes of the game and turned it off.
Okay, so all right, so let me ask him, Sabrina Ionescu, that's not exciting to you when she went against Steph?
Which one is it? No, I watched that part of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like there are players people just don't pay attention. Like she shot well against Steph. She in the WNBA.
She tied Dame, who was the
yeah.
Which my favorite part of that whole thing was that Dame wins the 3-point contest and then basically loses to both of them.
Yeah, but people don't know enough about the women because it's not on TV. I think if it was more TV, y'all would be like, "Oh, Sabrina, I know who that is."
But here's the thing: shooting unguarded three, she did terrific.
Look at it.
I don't want to watch.
There was
her play
men
a
that
game.
didn't get 20. That didn't get 25.
I get that shooting open threes.
Yeah, your reasoning. One of my favorite shows of all time is Seinfeld. And inside of Seinfeld, there was a thing where George and Jerry was writing a TV pilot called Seinfeld, right? Mm-hmm. And when they went to the network to pitch the show, they was pitching the show. They're pitching the show idea, and the guy was like, "Well, why should we put this on TV?" And Jerry, he said, why would people watch this? Well, he said, why would people watch this? That's what the network guy said. And then George was like, because it's on TV. That's the guy's like, that's just not how that works. Just because it's on TV doesn't mean anybody's going to watch. I think the key is how can they transfer that buzz from college and keep it and maintain it in the WNBA?
Because you follow them from college to the WNBA.
Well, they need two things to happen. They have there's a nice momentum in the women's game. I don't think that's deniable at this moment. Mm-hmm. They need to get these two girls in particular into the league, and they need to be on good teams. And they need to play well.
Fix the books.
So they
Cook
can
the books.
No, what you can get is like the Larry and Magic Johnson thing, where these two guys came from the NCAA title game into two really great teams, and they were basically rivals for titles for a decade.
Come on, man. Larry Bird to the Boston Celtics, where he's already has 6 Hall of Fame teammates. You think that's like by chance? Cook the books.
So y'all think Wemby being to the Spurs is the same way then?
No, I don't. Not
what do
at
you
all.
mean? That
It's like the books were cooked, like for him to go to.
No.
I do think there was. I find it suspicious.
Come on, that's suspicious.
That's
the same thing you
the
described.
Spurs is a god awful team. Like the NBA doesn't need to. They needed to do it at that time because the NBA was facing pairs like they were dying out. They were similar to WNBA. The ratings were down. They weren't on a lot of television screens. They weren't on network television.
Wait, what are we talking about?
You had to tape. They were on tape delay.
Wait.
Until the playoffs. playoffs.
Back in the 70s.
Yes,
Yes.
they were on tape delay into the
Yeah.
playoffs. They needed to do that. Now in 2024, who gives a fuck? Well, Wemby goes. He could have went to fucking Charlotte. They don't care. They're not cooking the books now. But I do think there are times throughout the NBA where certain things have happened for a reason. And
Patrick Ewing to New York.
Yeah, all of that stuff, man.
LeBron to Cleveland
Yeah.
and Derrick Rose
Yeah,
to Chicago.
and the WNBA, they have to stop doing everything like by the book, by the law. Like, yes, make them go to good teams.
You know
make
who
them go
controls
to
them, right?
rival
They're
teams.
under the NBA, so
Right.
that's the NBA's choice. It
Right,
ain't
but-
WNBA.
yeah,
That's
but
a-
they
But,
have.
but I'm saying whoever's running it, like they really need to capitalize this momentum by getting those two girls on good teams and hoping they stay healthy and play well.
I think running it is a loose term too.
market that
Yeah.
like
They
that
oversee.
rivalry, that stuff. Like
Well, they got. I think, one of my opinion, they need to get in better markets. One of the teams. Okay, you got New York Liberties there in New York. They got the Aces, which is in Las Vegas. Why we don't got a team in Miami? You know what I'm saying? Like, put it in good teams in good areas, and people might want to watch it.
Yeah, we had one in Orlando. It died out. People wouldn't support.
Miami could be tough though, because
There's so much going on in a
'cause
small.
I mean, like you look like Miami. If you're great, they'll pay attention.
Yeah, the
but
Miami
if you're
Heat
not,
struggles.
You know, like the Heat can struggle at times. The
Yeah.
Marlins struggle. The U football wise, like when
Yeah.
you know when they were great, like people would come. But
Yeah,
if they're not, like Miami's a tough market because there's so much to do. There's so much money. It's hard there. I think.
So nobody has the answer. They're saying we don't have the answer to why the product or how can we get the product better.
I don't think you just throw it on TV and say, have at it. I
No,
think
I mean, if you're gonna give it a go, I think you're in a window of time to do so. I think you have these two
time
natural
is now.
rivals. You need to if you have to manipulate the situation, do it to get them on good teams and create that rivalry. Maybe you get ESPN or whoever to double down and be a partner in this and push it. Because again, to me, I think Bubba's on the spot. There is a chasm between the college game and the popularity that some players attain and the continued enthusiasm for those same players in the pro level.
So, I'm gonna use y'all thing about fixing the books or whatever. They could have done that next year because there's gonna be a new team coming out the Bay Area.
A WNBA team?
WNBA is coming out the Bay Area. They just haven't chosen a name yet for them.
Okay.
So if that was the way to go, they could have told Caitlin stay another year so she can be drafted by that team out there. But she's coming
But you're
out.
still like going to a new franchise and I don't know.
They got more picks. They got they're gonna have 3 picks in the first 10.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's the way, but I tend to think you got to get them kind of like Larry and Magic did, where you're walking into good teams. Yeah. However you gotta make that
Magic
happen.
walked in with Kareem, so it's
I know.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah,
you're not just gonna walk into WNBA. Is not just gonna walk in. Okay, let's put her on the Aces. It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, maybe you need to find a way to make
the Aces are loaded already.
That's what we're saying, though. But again, part of the problem, and it's. And I guess Wemby's almost an argument against it because he's just such a phenomenon. I mean, San Antonio sucks, but there's still something about watching that guy play. I'm saying that kind of counter argument to it, but I don't think you can do that with the women's game.
No, not right now. They're not in that space.
I put two before you, Cade and Melo. We don't get to see them.
Cade who?
Right.
Cunningham?
Yeah, we don't get to see him and Melo.
Yeah.
Cade is not a star, and Melo's always hurt.
That's disrespectful.
Cade Cunningham is
Don't
not
do
a
that,
star,
dog. Don't do
man.
that. Don't do that.
Now,
We can
I
table that
made an
conversation.
argument that he's better than Paulo, and I stand by that. That was a year ago. But he's not a star.
The reality is this: when you with the great talent level, if you're not in a good situation, it just falls under the radar.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys, Hunt. I mean, I agree that they're both extremely talented, but I also say that both of them have essentially wasting their career right now in the current situation they're in.
Well, Melo is different because he's always hurt. It no matter
Well,
what
it's
situation
partly,
he's in.
it's got to be healthy.
No matter what situation he's only playing 30 games a year.
Yeah, you got to be.
Cade is on the court, but I just think as of right now he's just a good basketball player. I mean, he's not a star.
But he's got to. I mean, if you're Cade Cunningham and you think that you're what Kamar believes you are.
Yeah.
You got to go
out of Detroit. Yeah, you gotta go.
So there you go. So it's a fix in to where he has to get out of Detroit. Put him in an environment where he can really show that he is a star.
Yeah.
Well, I see the way NBA free agency works. The fix doesn't necessarily have to be in.
No, you control.
They
your
can't
own
match your
destiny.
salary,
You
and I thought they can. Well, they can
That's
because they can say
NFL.
team.
That's NFL that can hold you.
But what I mean by that is, okay, Detroit can give you a max. Boston can't give you a max if you're from there.
Yeah, but there's a long precedent. Like if dudes want out, they get out.
Yeah.
Like in the NBA, just like like when they reach a point, I don't give a shit.
Now guys are
you do the James Harden thing.
Yeah, like James Harden was
I'm
gonna
gonna
say,
make you trade
sign
me.
the max and then force a trade. That's the thing
Yeah,
now.
I mean, you
so you can
do
still get your
that.
money.
And then teams also, you have that incentive. Like if the relationship breaks down with the player, Cade doesn't want to be in Detroit anymore. Well, we're better off like signing him and trading him and getting some things back than to just let him sign.
And then guess what? That makes things exciting. Like a lot of older school like basketball fans, they don't like it, but that makes things exciting. NBA is a 12-month cycle because of free agency. Like even when the season is over, guys like James Harden wanting to leave every year and this and that. Where's LeBron going to go do? Maybe I don't know if the WNBA has restrictions, but I don't hear
they go overseas.
I don't hear of
though.
a lot of
the problem is that a lot of those girls will go overseas
because they make more money overseas than they do
and the
here.
money's not like where you're able to sign these big deals.
Speaking of Angel Reese, I think she's going to come back this year because she said it on multiple occasions. She makes more money in college than she do going to the WNBA. So that may be.
And that's the thing too, that like that, being kind of like one of 3 or 4 big names in college with big NIL money. I mean, like a lot of her money comes from sexuality.
Yeah.
Like we're fooling ourselves if we're not saying that.
What do you mean?
If she didn't look as good in a bikini, she's not making as much.
That's two
NIL
different
money.
things, though. That's different thing because like that is her profession as well. A model, she's a model as well. So
right, but I'm saying like her NIL money is her earning power is connected to her sexuality.
So
as well as her basketball.
what's Caitlin's? Why is that?
I have no idea.
That's basketball. No, the reason I'm saying that's basketball.
It could be.
Paige Becker's basketball. So Flau'jae Johnson on her team is rapping.
Angel Reese is in a unique position because of how attractive she is. Like you're saying it yourself. Like Caitlin Clark is more basketball. This other person's more basketball. With Angel Reese, she has modeling and basketball. It's like she's in that perfect mix of to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
Beyond like your actual sport.
Kobe is agreeing with our man here. If they could put high school football on ESPN, they could put WNBA.
But why?
Thank you.
But why does that work?
Because it's a popular sport. Football is popular,
right.
in my opinion, and it's more action to it. It's like more excitement.
But you're also gonna you're gonna watch those high school games because I remember seeing in high school. I remember watching Tim Tebow play.
Yeah,
I remember watching AJ Green play, and I remember what's his other dude, Julio.
Julio was on
and,
that.
Like you remember, like
even high school basketball, Austin.
Yeah, you watch those high school football games on ESPN because you're like, oh, I want to see this guy who's going to become this, this dude at Alabama or Georgia, and that he's going to be this dude in the league. And
why don't that happen? Like you just said, why doesn't that translate?
Because there's just not that level of interest.
But
in the
he said
game.
the product, and why is it the product when you just watched them a year prior?
I didn't watch him, so let's be clear.
I hear you. I hear you, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. I do not have the answer.
That's why I don't
to
think
it.
it's the product.
I do not have the answer to it.
It's higher than the product because these players just don't change. They just don't put a marker of folks and just forget how to shoot. You know what I mean? It's not a product.
And you just hurt me. I'm a 76ers fan.
I wouldn't tell nobody that until Embiid comes back. So.
I just don't think the product's that good. I'm gonna die on that hill. It's just not that good a product. There is something when you're watching the men's game, when you're watching, when you watch the Anthony Edwards dunk the other night, you're looking at this going, that's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. So
I'm glad I'm alive to see that.
So why isn't the men's basketball product going down to you in college?
What you mean?
College basketball. You still watch that, right?
No, very little.
Okay, so you don't watch it. Okay, smart man. But I'm just saying, it's dying down.
It has. Because why? Because a lot of the best players are not there. And that's the thing. Like, I'm driven in my sports viewership to see the best of the best. I mean, I watch stuff to see the next great thing. And if what I'm seeing is just kind of mediocre, it doesn't attract my eye.
Yeah, Pink is pretty
that's
consistent.
That's me personally.
Pink is pretty consistent.
That's why. I mean, I want to. When I hear about somebody or this or that, and if they become the real deal, You know, like Mbappe is my guy. I remember, like, you know, hearing about this guy, 17 years old. He's scoring goals.
Oh,
for
that's the
Champions
soccer
League.
player, right?
Yeah, soccer player. So I heard about him, and then it's like, oh, I got to see this guy. And then I watched him. Like, holy shit, this is my guy. And he just keeps doing it.
Question: so for all sports, and including WNBA, why can't we just? Why do we have to be the guy right now? Why can't we give them a couple years to be the guy or the girl?
Personally, my thing is that, like, I'm looking to see like something like just special or something I like kind of almost haven't seen before, and that's what draws me. I'm looking for something really special.
Yeah,
and when
Wemby is that.
Wemby's that.
Even though he's not the
and
guy
I was on,
right now.
And I was on Wemby early.
He was on Wemby early.
You know,
So
that's just the way I operate.
I didn't see that podcast, or I can talk to you about it. But like, you got somebody like Scoot Henderson. Is he a bust?
Yeah,
A lot of questions right now.
A lot of questions. So, but are we not going to give him a chance?
and we was high on Scoot.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Sports gives you a chance at redemption. As long as you can play, you can get better.
So watch the sport.
I do watch
WNBA.
the sport.
Watch the WNBA, and it's going to get better for you.
The problem with your analysis and your thing is, like, you're identifying one or two players in the NBA, but the sport itself is thriving with all these different stars. The problem with the WNBA is it's like 100% of like it's there's not an identifiable player that we are dying to see. Not one.
When you say you're not talking about somebody like me who watches.
I'm talking about the casual fan.
Okay,
the casual
that makes
fan.
sense.
And here and like so, and I think this is an important thing to note. Like when you're most things will find an audience. You know, right. You're in women's basketball audience. I'm outside of it right now. When something's going to grow or explode, it's not about you. It's not about me for soccer, because I'm going to watch soccer regardless. Okay. Soccer gets somewhere when you start watching it, not me. Women's basketball is going to get somewhere when he and I watch it and not you, because you're already there and I'm already in soccer. And like that, we're part of that niche audience. It transcends when you're somehow able to get those people that have never given two craps about it to now watch. Like I look like when golf with Tiger Woods, when he came on the scene, I watched zero golf until he came along. And then I started to like pay attention. Oh, this is one of those major tournaments. Let's see what's up with Tiger.
100%.
And when you get those extra people that are the marginal fan, that's how something blows up.
I now I see where you come from, because I'm looking at it in my light. Like, yeah. I understand it. Now I'm not looking at it from a casual fans or somebody not understand. So somebody like Juju can probably bring you guys on board, like, oh shit, she's next up.
Yeah. Exactly.
So okay, I understand.
And still, even Caitlyn, even Angel, like these guys now.
Well, they already got Bubba. I mean, this guy's hooked.
Well, Bubba needs to get on Paige Becker. So
is Paige Becker's healthy now?
She's healthy now.
She'll be in the tournament ready to roll.
Yes.
Okay.
And hey, I got to throw this in there. Malaysia Fawali from South Carolina. She's next up too. She's really good. She's a freshman. Nobody don't talk about it too much.
Okay. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Before we move on here, just wanted to put in Kobe last comments here. WNBA needs to call Vince McMahon, allegations aside. And he can promote now.
Yeah, he can.
He'll promote the hell out of some stuff.
Wrestling, man. That's funny. Hey, no, do you have a goofy or funny story of when I coached you that you would want to share?
We don't want to talk about get money.
Why not? You do it.
Oh goodness. Nah. I don't know if it's necessarily a good story. It's more so he got so many good stories. Coach Pink, he's what you see here is what you get in real life. Like he that's what he is. I'll tell a couple stories. So Coach Pink had like 10, 12, maybe like 12, 13 kids on the team. And he decided to go with a team 1, team 2, a platoon situation. And I'm not going to get into coaching too much, but there was a couple times where team 1 was actually the bench players. So he would start team 1. A lot of teams are coming, oh, yeah, we starting off good. And then little did they know team 2 is actually the good team. And, we coming in there, team 1 is usually down. So the quarters are 10 minutes long, and every 5 minutes Coach Pink switches us out, and we come back, team 2 comes back, and Team 2 is the better team. So
Which team are you on again?
Team 2, of course. That was obvious. And I think that Coach Pink, he was like, to us, he was that father we never had, that friend we never had, an older friend we never had. He kept it straight. The what is that? Fuck bitches get money.
Yeah.
That started with Coach Pink. He would like, he's that guy. Like, some coaches don't want to tell you if you suck. If you suck, he's gonna tell you, hey, listen, son, you go play golf. Just go do something else. Be a janitor. You know what I'm saying?
Be the best janitor you can
Yeah,
be.
exactly. He would always tell you to be the best you can be. If you're the best burger flipper, hey man, great job. He gonna tell you stuff like that. So he's so I mean, it's a lot of stories I can sit
That's
up and
hilarious,
tell.
man.
One of my favorite stories about you is you didn't get along with Ray Ridenhour.
Oh, goodness.
And
He's
so
stank.
Ray
He's
came
so
to our
stank.
practice, the JV practice at the time, and he wanted to run one of his drills, and I knew as soon as Ray walked in, he started getting mad. And so it didn't take long. Basically, he gets into a Ray leaves practice. We're playing the next day. And I'm not like somebody to like be like yelling and carrying on about like that stuff. So all I did was like, I just hit up Whip, and I'm like, hey, Whip, see if you can figure out if Q's going to come to the game tomorrow. And so I kept texting him overnight, and the next day, I'm like, you think Q's going to come? It's like, and but the thing was, is once he showed up, it was like nothing ever happened.
Nothing ever happened.
The old thing is saying life ain't fair. He's the epitome of that. Like, if you're good, and everything ain't equal in this world. So if somebody's sorry and they get in trouble, they're in trouble. I get in trouble. Q, good job, Q. Good job. You playing today. It's like, man, I did the same thing he did. But,
I don't know if it's you. I know it was John Boston. I forget. The couple of y'all were sick and didn't go to school, or allegedly sick.
Allegedly, yeah. We're going to use that. We're going to throw that in there, allegedly.
And we were at Lyman, and like the rule, as I understood it, was like if somebody's sick from school, they can't go play in the game that night. And so they show up for the game, and of course I want to play them right away. And Coach Howell was there, and I'm like, the game's going along, and I keep looking over at Coach Howell to give me the green light to put the guys in. And so finally he did. Like, let's go get them. Team 2, let's go.
Whatever it takes to win, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
Takes.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to bring up Anthony. He just
God.
he irks your nerves and stuff like that.
He bothers my soul.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh goodness.
No, that's really good there, man.
That's funny.
While we still had you, I wanted to talk about this Michael Jordan and Anthony Edwards comparison that's been going on, especially after the dunk. And then apparently, Chris Broussard had texted MJ, and MJ had confirmed, like, hey, yeah, I could see a lot of some of myself in him, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of talk has been going around about who can be the next face of the NBA. And, of course, there's all of these international players that are options here. And Anthony seems to be one of the few American-born players, him and Jason Tatum, that are options to take over that mantle. In your opinion, I know you're an Anthony Edwards guy, big time. Can he truly be the face, and why?
I think he can be the face, but I don't know if it can be with the current Minnesota team. I don't think that that's a championship team. I know they've been at the top of the West most of the year, but I would be very surprised if they win a title. I think for him to be the face of the league, you have to be in a championship mix, and I think either Minnesota needs to change or he needs to leave Minnesota to be the face of the franchise. The thing that puzzled me, and I saw a tweet today, is apparently Adam Silver's afraid to have Anthony Edwards be the face of the league, which I don't understand.
I do. I think the way he presents himself and he carries himself, he's had a couple incidents outside of basketball when he called the people the F word, And then he also, if you read the thing he just watched after the game, he said the N word, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he did.
After, so it's like, can he be the face of the league? And I think
And he
Minnesota,
had the pregnancy thing.
Yeah, send a video.
controversial.
I think like
Then
Minnesota's
he shows up
not
to a game midway through the first quarter.
Exactly. He don't have some. But to answer your question, I think he can and should be the face of the league. He wants that. The way he presents himself is like that. He might have to be a little bit more mature. And speaking of that, he said the Popeye thing. The Popeyes. Popeyes and McDonald's.
Yeah.
I think he's like that. He's Jordan.
I definitely think like we know Brock. Brock's actually met him, and he said like he shows up and he's drinking like a freaking large fruit punch, and he's not taking care of his body like he should. I hope that light clicks on for him at some point before it's too late, because I don't think. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to name like a guy who's been an elite performer for a long time that did not like really take their body seriously at some point in their career.
Are you saying American born?
No,
Okay.
just taking their body serious.
No, I'm talking about
yeah.
the guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not
you had
talking
Shaq.
domestically, but
Shaq,
Shaq, like,
but that's
literally.
a different. But that's a different.
But you're right. It's
beast.
fair. I mean, but
Yeah.
I think all those other guys, like even like Charles Barkley back in the day, like leaned out and
He got
like,
the light because
it went on,
and
he extended his peak years by caring about that.
So, there's a guy that's close to that. Luka, his body's not the best looking body.
No.
And everybody say skinny Luka. Is he ever going to go back to the skinny Luka? Because he's hooping right now.
Yeah.
He's not as athletic as Anthony Edwards, but
the game, his game is different. Like guys like Charles Barkley, guys like Anthony Edwards, they lean much more on their athleticism. Not to say it won't hurt Luka. Yeah, if you're fat and out of shape as you get older, it's going to be bad no matter who you are. But their games it'll look much different.
I don't think I don't want it to be.
Jokic, he's out of shape.
But
Not out of shape, but he
again,
looks.
the body is different. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean the game is different. The game is different.
Yeah, and I don't like I don't want to put so much on being fat or not fat. I just think that and I'm a horrible example because I eat McDonald's all the time. But I do think nutritionally you have to take care of yourself. Now your body form might look a little different. You might naturally carry a little bit more, fat than another guy would who's super lean. But I do think whatever those workout habits and nutritional habits are, I think as you age in the league and you want to stay at peak level, you have to do something serious in those categories. I don't know. I haven't read too much about what Joker and Doncic eat or train or whatever. I mean, you heard in the off season, Luka kind of just leaves it alone and messes with the horses. But I don't know.
I'm on the opposite end of all you guys. I think that Anthony Edwards is a incredible player, but I don't think he can ever be the face. I don't think he can ever be the best player in the NBA. I just think he's a tier below those guys, and a solid tier.
Is the face always the best player?
No, but that's what I'm putting two of them guys. I don't think he could be the face, and I don't think he could be the best player in the league. Either one of those two things, I just don't think he could become. And it's not an Anthony Edwards problem. The problem is all of the extreme talent that's in the league. And I'll just fast forward it was just a little bit more easier for guys like Michael Jordan because
correct.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards you got Wemby. I don't even have to go through all the guys. There's tons of guys that are just. I don't want to say tons of guys, but there's at least 7 to 8 players that are just a tier above him.
Well,
and he just can't get. He can't get there.
Let's come at the question slightly differently. I would say, for me, if you go to the '80s, Magic and Bird sort of shared that face of the league. They were the two principal guys. I think Michael had it in the '90s. Since that point, has anybody other than LeBron truly been the face of the league?
But yeah, and that's when the best player goes hand in hand because.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
There wasn't one player that really stood out. They were all okay, and then there also wasn't generational talents. There wasn't.
But who are we talking about now?
I'm saying whether you go from T-Mac to Iverson. To Kobe was the cream of that crop. You could say he held it for a little while, as you know what I mean. But those guys were all several tiers below these guys.
Right. So going back to my original question, you would say that potentially Kobe might have held face of the league
for a little bit.
But
there was a gap where there was no face of the league.
And basically it's been LeBron since.
Yeah. LeBron had it for a long ass time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And so we don't, and that's the game right now. You're trying to identify the next person.
And I think we actually,
but it's going to rotate.
We had this discussion a little while ago, maybe a couple months. But I don't think, and I'll go back to this. I don't think the face of the league is in the league right now.
Oh, that's BS.
That's BS. That's called BS. But two things.
But the reason why I say that is this. Partly, I think LeBron, the specter of LeBron has been so big and so long, that impacts what people are going to accept going forward. And then number two, to your point, I think we are in an era where there's essentially like an ensemble of guys that will carry the league. I don't think that we have a singular face of the league.
Do we need a face?
You don't. I don't think you do.
Okay.
But my point is, that's the thing. I think as LeBron is phased out or phasing out, I think you're just going to kind of have an era where there's going to be an ensemble of guys. And my next point is the next time we have a face of the league, it's something we haven't seen yet.
That's
and
impossible.
That's why I say it's not in the league.
The face is in the league, and it's Wemby. I truly believe it's Wemby. Okay. He's blocking shots from everywhere. When the Spurs decide to make him the focal point, he's going to be just great. We've never seen anything like Wemby. Shaq says Bobo, but no, Bobo is not Wemby.
That did not age well.
It didn't. But Wemby is the face of what he's doing. He's lived up to the hype thus far. So far, he's lived up to the hype. So why wouldn't he fall into that? He's going to win championships. He's going to win defensive MVPs or defensive, And
I could be wrong. I'm just giving you what my feeling is on this.
There's too many. Even, face of the league is also, I don't know if you could call it subjective, but it's like the best player in the league, once that guy established himself for a couple of years consecutively, they're going to automatically call him the face of the league anyhow, because that's basically what happens to LeBron.
People don't want it.
And that's the projection of it. It doesn't matter if they want it or not. If Jokic continues to win, he's going to be the face of the league for right now. Face of the league that's not a job on Indeed. It's not like he has to go out and there's job duties. There's a description. There's all it is the best player in the league for an extended period of time. That's the face of the league. You don't have to go out and kiss babies and do networking.
But I think there's a slight nuance to that. I do think that anybody that's been the face of the league has projected broader than their game, and Jokic doesn't do that.
He doesn't.
It's not.
He just wants to hoop, though.
It's not purely a function of being the best player alive.
It is.
It's not.
Every face of the league has been the best player in the league who has won over an extended period of time. That is the 99%.
And they've also had a commercial cachet to
you can say that, but that's an extra piece of it. The main crutch.
Main piece.
No, it's not the main piece, because there's been tons of guys that have been marketable.
Who else has been the face?
No.
But name faces of the league.
From back in the day, Bill Russell. He just happened to be a personable, marketable guy.
He really wasn't.
Huh? Then that's against your point then, because he was the face of the league.
He won 11 championships in 13 years.
That's my point. That's the crutch. Being the best player in the league over an extended period of time, that's the criteria. There is no other criteria. You're fooling yourself if you think
Question, that. Tim Duncan. Is he never
been the face?
He wasn't the best player in the league.
You don't have to. That's why I asked you earlier. Do you have to be the best player?
Yes.
You have to be the best player.
But if you draw a line from Bill Russell, who are the guys that have been the face of the league?
You just mentioned them.
Yeah. You had Magic.
I have LeBron. I have Michael. I have Magic. I have Larry. Bill Russell.
Yeah.
Who else?
And then there's been gaps.
Right. But so literally we have 5 guys that have elevated to the face of the league.
Yeah.
And the league has operated for stretches of time without a face. And that's okay.
Who else has won over an extended period of time and been the best player?
You guys just said it though. You guys just said it. You said Magic and Bird was together the face of the league. So why can't we have that now? Why can't we have the same thing?
You had two guys that were absolute rivals.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying it's impossible to have. Yeah. But when I look at this, when I look at the post-LeBron crop of guys, you have Jokic probably right now is there. You have Wemby rising. Doncic is kind of in that mix. Is he going to get to a title level?
So is Giannis.
Giannis agreed. Yeah. But Giannis is I love him, but the timing's not going to work for him.
Why not?
Because by the time LeBron actually retires, he's going to be in decline himself. Not terrible decline where he can't play anymore, but I honestly feel that we've already seen the best Giannis has to offer.
How? He still can develop a jump shot, a consistent jump shot.
No, he's not going to do that. But he's in his prime right now. I mean,
I think it's the tail of it.
Already?
My belief.
Could be, but
I
whether it's a
my
tail or
point
not,
is this.
he's
we
in
have
it.
seen the
He's in
best.
it.
We have seen the best of what
Yeah,
he has
that's
to
fine.
offer. What we're having
I
now,
can agree with that.
more missed games.
Yeah.
Lack of the jump shot, which also suggests he's not going to age well and gracefully.
Yeah, he's not going to have
that's my
a
point.
incredibly long career.
I think we've seen the best of Giannis, and so I think that takes him out of the mix.
It doesn't take him out of the mix because he's on a championship team right now. You're saying he's on the tail end of his prime, but that still means he's in his prime.
Yeah,
and whether that's a 2 to 3 year
but
window,
what I'm saying is,
he already has one championship.
Correct.
And
But
2 to 3 MVPs.
It's like the timing's not right. He's not going to go on a 2 or 3 title run in the next 3 or 4 years. He's not.
You're saying he's not, but we don't know that.
What? Okay.
He's
let me
on a
explain
good
this. Let me
team. He's
explain
on a
this.
championship
Let me explain
team.
this. When you have a take, you are taking information that you know and you're projecting what's going to happen. This is my take. History could prove me wrong, and I'll have to eat crow on it. But I'm telling you now, we have seen the best of Giannis. That's in the past.
I'm not disagreeing with that point.
And that's all I'm saying.
You can say I can agree with you on we've seen the best of him, but my point is, like he's still at such an elite level right now. He's inside of his prime. He's not over the hill. He may be 70% up that hill. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then once
He's
he gets over
cresting
that, once he gets over that hill, his skill set
won't allow him to be.
it won't
elite.
allow because he needs that athleticism. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate.
If we had a piece of paper and we had to write down 10 names, how many? If we just think about like who can be the face of the league, if we go Jokic, Tatum, Anthony Edwards,
Luka. I still say
is Wemby.
Wemby.
Is Ja count or
Ja's
no?
out.
No,
Ja's
SGA.
SG.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6.
Yeah, because he's on a championship level team and he's the best player.
That's 6. And
I still say Giannis. Giannis is there.
Okay, Giannis.
Yeah. And then you have
Embiid or no?
no, not
Too many
Embiid.
injuries.
Yeah. Not Embiid.
That's 7.
Unfortunately, that's 7. I say it's about 7.
So those are there. Like that's 7. That's not bad.
It's not bad. You could always draft up names, but like to me, face of the league is something that you feel and you know when you see it, when it's there. It's not about like electing somebody.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not here yet.
That's
yeah,
what I'm
we know
saying.
that. Yeah,
You
it's
said
not
that.
here yet.
I just think it's Wemby. I think it's.
well,
Yeah.
you could be 100% right, but we're not there yet.
If
And
Anthony,
that's my thing. Like I'm saying, we've seen the best of Giannis.
Okay.
You're saying Wemby's going to rise
question:
to that level.
if by some miracle Anthony Edwards with Minnesota wins this year a title, is he the face of the league?
No.
Probably not yet.
No.
You gotta have a little sustained success.
Got
It's gotta be
like I said,
sustainable.
over a period of time, and then he got to get some MVPs, some All NBAs.
According to
goes
success,
wrong with it?
so that won't be Tatum until he wins because he's got everything besides MVP in a.
Tatum, like my thing with him is like I don't feel that he's ever been a legitimate MVP candidate, and they have to win a final.
He's getting criticized because of the team he's on.
I know he's getting criticized. I'm just.
No, it's not just that. It's not just that. We really don't believe in Tatum unless you're just a
I like
Tatum
Tatum.
guy. Unless you're
I'm
a
not.
Tatum
I'm not
guy.
necessarily a Tatum guy. I just like his game.
But we
I
don't.
do too.
But we
like,
don't. I like his game as well. But you don't believe in him. Like he doesn't perform well in a lot of big. Yeah, sometimes it's tricky with him. Like
we were saying the other day. So a classic Tatum is you'll get to like the final minute of a close game, and he'll hit like a crazy shot, and he'll have a horrible turnover, like in the same final minute. And sometimes the Celtics do enough to win that, and sometimes they don't. Like he doesn't give you that trust that like you're absolutely like, dude, this guy's coming through, and you're surprised if he doesn't. Like that's part of his package. Like it is what it is. And I think that's part of the reason why he's never been like that serious MVP candidate. Like you just don't have that feeling of inevitability watching him. Super talented, great player, deserving All-Star. He's on track for me for a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if he wins a title or two before it's over. But again,
he's only 25.
I agree. I mean,
we do that every year. He's only 22. He's only 23. He's only 24. He's only 25. He's only 26. And also, there's a ton of times, man, where I really don't know who's the better player out of him and Jalen.
That's disrespectful. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that.
Listen,
don't do that.
Jaylen Brown was much better in the finals when they played against the Warriors. He was the best player on the court, period, out of both teams. Okay, then you have look it up, man, or
I don't do stats. I don't
fix your memory
like
or whatever. And then it's just a ton of big games, just like the Denver game. I know it's one game in a regular season, but Jaylen was the best player on the floor. There's so many times that is the case where. That just doesn't happen with the other.
It rubs you the wrong way, though.
Huh?
You saying that because it rubs you the wrong way.
No. What I'm saying is that doesn't happen with the other best players in the league. Like you know what I mean? Especially with guys in their prime. Like you're just not going to feel that with Tyrese Maxey, with Damian Lillard, with Murray, with you know what I mean, with Chet Holmgren, like with Vassell on the Spurs. Okay. Like you're not that second player. You're not going to feel like it's not going to be a stretch of time where it's like, I really don't know.
I'm a KD fan and Luka fan. What do you take about that Kyrie thing? Because that's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. You're never looking at a Dallas game. You're not looking at a Dallas game and saying that Kyrie is a better player than
you're right. You
not a game. Not out of 82. Not a game.
Just Luka dominates so much.
Yeah, Luka is different. His game is just different from a lot of people. But I think if you switch roles, do you think if Brown was the one, if he was the one, are the Celtics as good?
Jason Tatum is a better basketball player than Jaylen Brown.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying the reverse. I'm just saying it's sometimes when you watch their games. I'm not saying every game. It's just a lot of times in their biggest games, Jaylen Brown is the better player. You know what I mean? And Jason Tatum is having a shit show of a game. It just happens far too many times in those huge games. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And he could change that narrative as soon as this year. The number one seed, he has this opportunity this year.
Going into that Warriors final, like because he really outplayed KD badly in the early rounds of that playoff, I literally, because we were talking about what's top 5 in the league, and I was like, if Tatum is the best player in the finals and the Celtics win, he's in that 5, you can't avoid it. I mean, and the fact of the matter is, if he does that this year, it'll be the same.
Same thing.
If the Celtics win the title and Tatum is lights out in the finals and makes all the plays. You're gonna have to say it.
It'll be the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hate on
It's in his hands. I mean, that's the thing. It's there for you.
Yeah.
If you want to be that guy, like.
Does the face of the league have to be an MVP winner?
I think you gotta have that on the resume.
I just think it's gonna happen naturally that way. I mean,
to me, like I have a high standard for this face of the league thing. I don't think it's something that you achieve by default. Like somebody's got to be the face, and you are the hottest player at the moment.
No.
To me, I think it's a confluence of everything. It's MVP level play, and that's again, sometimes you're the best player in the world, everybody knows, but you don't win the MVP, but you got to at least win one. And then you're also in that situation where you're winning titles, and you're not winning a title and missing the playoffs for 2 years and then coming back. You're that standard.
There's only one player that has an inside track to it right now, and that is Jokic. You know what I mean? He's the only player that has an inside track.
He's got the MVPs. He's got.
That's not necessarily true because him and Giannis got the same MVP and same championships.
Giannis. What I mean by that is because Giannis is there, but it's just that like Jokic is on the. Really, they have the best team in the league. Right
You're
now.
essentially saying, let's just say.
But yeah, Giannis could win this year. And
if they win this year, and that can change, right?
Yeah.
It's all fluid, but
it's all fluid.
And what I'm saying, like that face of the league thing, that person is gonna stack enough accomplishments that it just feels like, oh yeah, that's it. He's the guy.
Well, okay, in that manner, if Jokic wins another one this year, then he's the guy because he's back to back, and he's probably gonna win MVP this year too. So he should be the face.
That's why I'm saying that's inside track. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, that's the type of run. He's already got a title. Yeah. He's already got a pair of MVPs. If he adds another MVP and a title this year, now you're kind of like, where do we go? And it doesn't feel like the Nuggets are going anywhere.
We can all agree that we'll never see another run like LeBron James as in the face of the league.
It's going to be extremely tough. Now that I'll agree with. I'll use Pink analogy as I don't think we'll see it with this group of guys we have right now, only because the competition is just too fierce. Like OKC is going to win one of these years, you know what I mean? And then you got Wemby coming up, and then you got you have to think Anthony is going to sneak in. Like And that's just on the West alone. Like, you got to think, like, these guys,
But it's
just too much, man.
I mean, like, let's not forget, it's a team game, and even the best player needs to have the right pieces to make that, to actually win the titles or string a couple titles.
And I think that's why we're all in agreement. That's why the Wolves won't win it. They don't have the
right pieces.
They don't have the right pieces.
I don't know. They have enough. They have enough.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I would be.
Carl Anthony's. He's too inconsistent for my life.
Yeah, that's taking away from Anthony. You're like if he's the guy, they've been number one most of the year. Like, they have enough. You have one of the 6 man. Hold on, let me finish. You have one of the 6 man of the year candidates in Nas. Okay, you have Karl Anthony Towns, who was an all-star. You have Rudy Gobert as the defensive player of the year 1,000 times, and will be that this year. Like, you have enough. You have role players. You have two top.
I don't think that's enough.
What's not enough?
Because when I look at those people, I don't think that they're winners.
Yeah, they're not.
I don't trust Rudy Gobert. I don't trust.
You make them winners.
Towns.
How?
You make them winners. They said Jordan made this team winners.
I don't.
Anthony Edwards and Jordan, he's getting there. He's not there yet.
And I'm not. I mean, I agree with what Jordan said. I see some things that are like me. I don't. And I love Anthony Edwards, but I'm not saying he's Jordan.
Because if that,
I can see a few parallels.
He don't have a Shaq.
He
don't have a Shaq.
Yeah, but people, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like, he's super young right now. He's not required to win right now. But my point is, like, that nobody's gonna cry wolf for Anthony Edwards with this team. Like this is not the same. He's not on the Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs. He's not on, like, he's with an organization who is making moves, to win games, and nobody's going to cry wolf for Anthony Edwards. He's young. He's not required to win right now, and that's fine. They're going to flame out. We all know it.
But
in the playoffs.
Here's another way to look at this too. Like, remember, 2 years ago when they made the Gobert trade, most people are like, God, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a championship thing. It's a little surprising, and Anthony's getting a lot of credit, I think, and rightly so, for even getting this team in the regular season.
See what I'm saying?
mix.
You get all the credit, but he's not going to get any of the blame.
I'm not saying.
And maybe
I'm not saying he's not getting blame.
He's not, but he's not. I'm telling you, he's not. He's not going to.
Hasn't so far. He hasn't.
Yeah.
So far, he hasn't,
and he's not going to.
Here's my thing: he's got to perform in the playoffs.
He's in a sweet spot.
He's got to perform in the playoffs.
No, he doesn't.
Individually, he does. Yes,
he does not.
Absolutely,
he's young, guys.
It does not matter.
It does matter. Young guys.
Okay, let me ask you.
Do not perform that well.
If that's the case,
playoffs.
then why do you criticize Jason Tatum? He's young as well.
Yeah.
So why are you criticizing Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum has gotten to the finals, gotten to the conference finals.
You're still not answering the question. He's young. That's by your logic.
I am criticizing Jason Tatum to being the best player in the league. I'm not criticizing Jason Tatum as being a great player who performs well. We're talking about the cream of the crop for Jason Tatum.
What are we saying about Anthony Edwards? We're saying your team's been at the top of the West all year. You almost by definition are on a title contending team. And when you get to the playoffs,
he's not required. He's not.
I get that he's not required.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you this: if they get into playoffs and he plays like shit,
nobody's going to give a damn.
They will care.
No, they
won't.
Will care.
They will.
He just won't. He won't get crucified. What are you talking about? There are so many players. Like, they didn't crucify Luka in his first playoff run when he played bad.
When did he play?
He got kicked out in the first round. His first playoff run.
What was that?
That was the year before the bubble. I think the year of the bubble
was Dirk's last year.
You know what I mean? I can name 100 guys. It's not just Luka. It's not just Luka.
But he's not a rookie like that either.
Luka wasn't a rookie.
His first year in the playoffs?
Yeah, he wasn't a rookie his first year in the playoffs.
When?
Yeah, I'm sure.
How many years did he
we
play
can look
when
it
they
up, but
didn't make the
I don't want to make it a Luka thing because it's LeBron, it's Luka, it's fucking it's Embiid, it's Ben Simmons, it's young players. When you're supremely young, your first couple of years, your first playoff or first couple of years in the playoffs, you're not required to win. You're not, and if you perform bad, which a ton of them do, they're not crucified. You know what I mean?
But okay, you're crucified. Okay, he won't be crucified. I'll give you that. But it's not. You're gonna take heat. That's what the playoffs are about. Like, your performance is measured. Now, when he did appear in the playoffs 2 years ago, he played very well against a good Grizzlies team.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those early signs. Like, okay, here's the bright lights. He seems to be playing well. He seems to be doing well. And that was one of those check the box. This looks okay. Now, when you come into the playoff with some measure of expectation, and I don't think he's going to play like shit. I think he's built right for this. But if he has a bad playoffs and they go out maybe a round or two earlier than whatever, that's going to be a ding. He's not going to get crucified, but people ask questions.
Yeah.
People look at you a little differently. I mean, everything you do as an athlete, like it's a data point. You're showing the world who you are. And anybody that like has a brain and watches this stuff analyzes. You know, we watch, you know, I mean, again, I love Giannis, but we watched Kawhi dominate him in that run, and you kind of felt, oh, wait, this is not good. Yeah. And then you've watched some other playoffs where that inability to hit a jump shot or whatever, and you feel, this isn't good. Like this, we can't say he's that guy if he can't do these things. And that's all this is.
So, Bubba, when will it take for Anthony Edwards when should we expect him to be that guy or be ready to win? 2 more years, another year?
For most guys, is when you've had failures. That's just how.
So this year he's probably going to fail. More than likely,
when you've had multiple failures, that's the moniker for young players. That's the moniker for young teams, and that's just been it for years. SGA, OKC is going to be the same exact thing. Like if SGA doesn't perform well this year, or Chet, or what have you, nobody's going to say pretty much anything. Like that's going to be.
I think SGA will because he's in an MVP voting, but Chet not so much.
Yeah, that's just. I don't know, it's just the way it goes. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you that's a fact of life. Like that's I've seen it since I've been alive.
How many young players are championship or bust this year?
How many young players? None. They're never any.
So Tatum is. That's why I asked.
Oh, you mean young? Like
that's what I mean. Yeah, like
young
that.
is a relative term then, because I don't consider Jason Tatum as young anymore.
Oh.
I think Jason Tatum is required to win.
So he's championship or bust. Giannis championship or bust.
Of course.
Jokic championship or bust.
Yeah.
Embiid, if he comes back, depending on that situation.
Embiid is championship.
Okay.
But again, he's not a young
Anthony Edwards is not. I'm trying to look at the West. Kawhi, he's not young. Okay. Okay. So we got 3. So.
No, I would put Anthony Edwards. I would put Luka. I don't think the pressure point is that high for him to win yet. I don't think like what I'm saying. If Dallas doesn't win the title, Luka's still, you know, like it doesn't.
He's in a small. He's still in a small window of grace.
But he's starting.
He's in a grace period.
Starting to get
a little bit of grace period.
He's knocking like like next year they probably want to be there.
Yeah. And then what other
SGA? You said SGA.
SGA's in the grace period. I mean, they've they whiffed the play in last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very big on playoff battles. And I mean, I think that's where like Tatum has been in every damn playoff situation you could be in. And that's why you're looking at, hey, at some point we got to learn from this and we got to be the guy.
I could say the same thing about the Grizzlies. You know what I'm saying? They've been there. They had a team.
The Grizzlies, I mean, the Grizzlies they're kind of a mess. I mean, like the Ja off the court stuff that got the suspension. And 2, I mean, he only played a handful of games, but and I've been critical of him. I thought he was fantastic when he played this year. But like then he gets hurt and he's not playing, so it's like they just kind of get like I don't even know what to say about him.
Well, before you guys, you know, in this segment, I got a question. Who would you rather have on your team to start a team with? You know what I'm saying? Outside of Wemby, young guys. I'm picking Anthony Edwards, me personally.
If I get to start from scratch, I think I would take Anthony.
Out of all of the young guys.
Outside of Wemby,
I would have to go Luka.
I knew you were gonna be Luka guy.
I love Luka, but Anthony Edwards, he does it for me.
Yeah. I mean, and for right now, it's all subjective until these guys really start winning. And again, and also, I'm not so sure that Wemby is guaranteed to win, man, because when you said that, like he's going to win, like I'm not on that train.
The reason I think so is because people are going to want to play with him. He's unselfish. People are going to want to play with that. Maybe not for Pop, but they're going to want to play for him.
It'll be interesting because on some level, there's no way that Pop is around for Wemby's prime. I mean, he's too old. He'll probably be dead in Wemby's prime. I don't say
He's
that lightly.
19, exactly. So when
Like,
we don't know when his
I
prime
mean, if
will
we're
be.
talking like Wemby,
No,
like
we don't.
25 to 30, like 29, like if he's, knock on wood, if he stays healthy and evolves, like Pop's not coaching then. Like we don't know what the situation's going to look like. We don't know if it's going to be San Antonio or somewhere else.
They're in a bad situation that everybody would want, because what happens is with teams, I saw this is the same thing that 76ers made a mistake with, because when you get a young talent like this, and we had two, you don't know whether you want to be patient and acquire things naturally, or if you want to go all out for it. And when you go all out for it quick, you can make mistakes. And you can make mistakes like that. All of a sudden, you got Al Horford on the max. You got Tobias Harris on the max. You got, you got
mistakes you can't
Markelle
get out of
Fultz
quickly.
and you can't get out of them quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or do you stay patient like OKC? OKC has stayed patient and stayed down, and so it'd be interesting. I don't know. And San Antonio Spurs is a good franchise, but they gotten lucky. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's been a lot of luck to their success. It's not like they just have some dominant front office team who's been knocking shit out of the park.
Well, the interesting thing for OKC is like they're gonna face a moment of payment, and last time they had a moment of payment, they got it wrong.
James Harden, yeah.
And so
the difference is not. I think they're in just the best situation of all time, because these guys are not superstars. Those guys were superstars. These guys are not like supermax guys. Only SGA is,
I would say,
and potentially Chet, but he's not even there yet.
He's not. I was gonna say I think SGA is further along than James Harden was at that time. Me personally.
Oh yeah, because James Harden was the sixth man at that time.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they don't have the
SGA's
KD, and the Russ. They don't have those two guys.
Well, and the timeline could be a bit more favorable in the sense that decisions on SGA are coming faster, but you're still a few years
Pay
away
him
on
whatever
Chet.
he wants. He gets whatever
Right,
he wants.
but you're still a few years away from Chet. You're not in a situation where you SGA and then bang right after that you have to do Chet. And then you're like,
even if you
tap
was,
out.
that's two max guys. And
Exactly.
and
But-
again,
but
I'm still not even
still my
totally
point.
sure right now Chet is going to be a supermax guy. Right now he's a really good role player.
Well, here's the thing. If Chet doesn't play to the level of a supermax guy, the situation in OKC is not as great as we think it is.
It is.
It is. They have draft picks. They have everything.
No.
Draft
Even
picks are
I'm talking
not-
about the team remains the same for the next 5 to 6 years. This is a team that can grow into a championship team. You got to remember, they only made one. Hold on, let me finish. They only made one change from last year to this year. One change.
Who was it?
Chet Holmgren. His just from what he is doing this year alone, because he's a big man who can block shots and shoot efficiently. He has changed the entire game for SGA and that team, and that's just the level he's at right now. If he doesn't get a lick better, they're already going to be in the championship mix because of those.
Another
other players
thing,
too.
Jay
Jalen
Williams.
Green.
Williams, his growth. His growth is.
But that's the point I was making. Is the growth has to be there.
Okay.
Like you can't. You can't have everybody but SG like stagnate or succumb to injuries and not play regularly. That's the thing, and that's my point. If Chet doesn't evolve, like right now he's tracking to be a max player. You're expecting a certain measure of growth, and he's been very durable this year, and you're expecting that to continue. If either of those things, if the growth doesn't occur or the health record gets spotty, like then maybe he's not a max player, and that's essentially what I'm saying.
But that's why I bring up the draft conversation. You go get a max player then, because they have everybody's draft picks essentially.
Yeah.
You can go out and get
Still
that.
got a ton of them, man. They're just in a fucking.
They stockpile those.
Now that's the front office who just they really knocked that out of the park. But they
Well,
have to
what-
capitalize and they have to win eventually.
And my point being is that they were on the precipice before, and they made a wrong decision, and it set them back.
Yeah.
Now they've stayed steady. They kept, I think, the same guy, isn't it? It's been there the whole time. Now they're gonna face with the building of what is a very strong looking team. They're gonna face another moment of truth, and they've got to be right this time.
Yeah, and I'm actually, I think they could make a crazy run this year.
Too young and experienced, in my opinion.
Right, but I just don't think so. And in the West this year, me and Pink have talked about it before. It's all about matchups. Like, they're a really bad matchup. Denver doesn't want to see them. Denver does not want to see OKC. I know Denver's the best team. Playoffs, you're going to think is different. That's one team Denver does not want to see. They just got that number.
Outside of the point guard, Denver doesn't have OKC doesn't have a better matchup. Like, if you go down 1 through 5, Denver has the best thing, like matchup.
Yeah,
wise
on
and all
paper.
that. On
But
paper, yes.
when you have watched them play this year, it has been different. Yeah, if you go back and watch them, and that's just one particular matchup. Now OKC they got teams that does them the same way. Like OKC has teams they don't want to face. That's going to be the Western Conference. It's weird this year. It's certain teams that are better. It's a bad matchup for them, and we just have to see how the seedings are going to place. You know what I mean? And right now, I mean, how it's going to be, they wouldn't face each other anyway to like the Western Conference Final anyhow. If OKC could hold on, but I think they are, man. I think they are. The Clippers have fell off the map. I know Russ got injured or whatever, but they're on like a 6 game, or they've lost 6 out of 7 or something since.
That the Russ dynamic is really fascinating.
It is.
And here we were talking about like you write guys off or not, and Russ has been written off by a lot of people, including myself in a lot of ways. But like when somebody comes back from being written off, like I have great respect for that, and there's no question like the way he was playing and what he meant to that group was significant.
Yeah.
And him being out has changed that group. What do I mean I haven't followed it. Like is there a projection on him coming back or any of that?
No, hasn't been any words yet. Okay. Hasn't been any words yet.
His willingness to come off the bench is something that doesn't get talked about enough either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And they're in a tricky situation because of Paul. They've already extended Kawhi, but Paul George they haven't offered an extension yet. Yeah. And then you got a team like 76ers who has a full max slot who's like going to be heavily
and James Harden wants to max more than likely.
And James Harden, yeah, he's due for an extension. So they I don't know what they're going to do after this year.
Well, for me, there's no when they made the Harden trade, it was like, hey, we're just throwing this for now, and then whatever happens, if it works and they win a title, then they'll figure that out. If it implodes like it has every other year that Ballmer's been the owner of that team, then they'll figure that out too. And I felt they should have blown it up last year.
That's what I thought.
But they kind of kept it together and then doubled down. I
think they feel like they have to because they gave up the forum for Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
Yeah.
You gave up everything for Paul George, so
including the SGA.
Yeah, which was obviously not the right decision, and they did that for Kawhi Leonard essentially.
Yeah.
No,
to play half of the games.
Yeah.
Fuck Kawhi.
Come on, man. How you gonna say fuck him? Why?
Because he don't play enough.
He's been there.
He's been better this year. And
he's
that's
been
why
there
he's
this
been a
year.
little bit better. But I just don't like guys that don't play.
Yeah, I'm not totally against that. Not totally against that.
I just can't be like behind a guy that doesn't play. Like you're never gonna be my dude if you don't play.
Injuries.
I don't care.
So you wasn't a Derrick Rose fan?
No.
How are you tripping?
I can't be. That can't be my guy if you're that fragile.
Yeah, but he had a
legit. His injuries. He
had
won
a
MVP.
very brief run. And to me, the enduring image of Derrick Rose for me was his MVP season, and he got in the playoffs against Miami Heat LeBron, which is my favorite LeBron ever, and he looked like a JV player when LeBron got
They had 3-headed monsters to kill to fucking get rid of a MVP of that night. Like, come on, man.
That was my favorite LeBron.
But LeBron was in peak form. Yeah,
I know that was my favorite LeBron.
Yeah.
They have that meme going around. He looks up and like, yeah, he's a motherfucker. Like okay, cool. He's that guy.
Heat LeBron was my favorite LeBron by far.
Yeah, that was a monster.
That was ridiculous.
That was a monster.
Even in that final with OKC, I remember there was a fourth quarter where he put the clamps on KD, and then he cramped up like LeBron does, and he was out for like 3 possessions, and KD hit like 2 baskets, and then LeBron got back in, and KD stopped scoring again.
Would you say that OKC was probably the best youngest team to never win a championship?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, but probably
best
they up there.
youngest team to not win.
Because that's like that was
at least in a modern era.
It's probably in the modern era. It's probably the greatest like what if team because they got to that final, and then like the Harden move and
they made a terrible decision. I mean that's just but also you're faced with those, man. You're faced with those. Because of KD and Russ and they chose essentially Serge Ibaka over James.
In hindsight, it looks terrible. It looks terrible, but Ibaka was a great defender for them.
Yeah.
But like again, like you look at.
I think it's the principle of $4 million that you can't go on tax. I mean, what was it? It was $4 million for $4 million.
But for a small market team, you got to think about what those penalties do to those teams. And nowadays, it's outrageous. They
gotta
really tax them.
You still gotta be like, we're not gonna have this window of time. Like this is.
That's what I'm
now.
thinking. Like you got rid of James Harden.
This is the now. Like we have to do this. I just, I
agree, but it's just I know it's not.
And it creates one of the great what ifs. I mean, it's just like.
Yeah,
it's tough to swallow.
And what's behind them is the Celtics. If the Celtics don't win any time before they blow up this, that's a big what if too. Like you had Porzingis, you had Tatum, you had Brown.
The Celtics like
they're gonna fall in that boat.
a lot of ways. Like you got because there's been multiple off seasons already where the question is do we blow this up, and they've steadfastly kept the two together. And they've kind of continued to try to make moves and be relatively aggressive.
Every offseason.
They're
being aggressive.
But, again, do they get the payoff? Do they get a title out of this or not? And again, it's already been a question for the last couple of years. If they don't win this year, it's going to be the same question.
But you
and
can't.
How do they react?
I've went back and forth on this. You can't blow that team up. You just got to keep rolling with it. You just have to because they're so good and dominant in the regular season and in the playoffs. It's just either like the conference championship or the actual NBA
semifinal,
yeah, where they lose it at, or break down or what have you. You have to keep that
when
together.
they went up on the Warriors, they felt like the better team. I mean, they almost got mind fucked by the Warriors.
I think experience came into play with that.
That thing.
And then Andrew Wiggins just woke up.
He woke up and he realized he was the number one draft pick. Like Wiggins, what has been at?
I mean, and Steph just did everything he needed to do.
Yeah.
And that one, because Draymond was struggling, and he went into Boston, and he was real demonstrative, and kind of got everyone fired up about him.
A vet like Iguodala helps,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it was just the perfect storm. But again, at the end of the day, they didn't get it done. And then last year it was like you got to look at yourself. How do we lose to the Heat? Like that's tough to swallow.
That's tough. Milwaukee lost to them as well one time. Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah,
that's tough. I have to do this one commercial, then we have to end the show. We're not going to get to our other topics, which is fine. But this is going to look weird on the live here, but I have to add this in for the because I have to do it every week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm might be front row seat for that.
You should, man. April 20th. Lock it in, man.
I don't think football starts yet, so might be there.
It's at
Can I ref?
Can you ref?
No, they want all
female ensemble.
Yeah.
Joanna, man. Blow the whistle.
Yeah. Is the Lewinsky, is that like a play on the Monica Lewinsky thing?
Yeah. Let's see here. Do I have it? I think I have it pretty good here.
Yeah, you got it right there.
Okay. Here we go. Alrighty, here we have on April 20th event that you just have to go to and see. Alrighty, the real NBA is coming to the Smith Center right in the heart of Orlando. Nothing but ass game. Team Stallion versus Team Amber Lewinsky. Okay, I've actually went to visit her at her place of work a couple of times, and I'm just going to tell you. You got to see this in action. All right? This is something you got to see live.
Are you going to mention her place of work?
You got to see this live and up front. All right, it's not something you're going to want to miss. Okay, and on top of that, I'm going to tell you something here. On the Bench Podcast, we have free tickets available that we're going to be giving out. So you want to make sure that you're in the mix, all right, to get those free tickets. We're going to let you know how and all of that good stuff. But just remember, April 20th, all the information is on the screen to look up the tickets. They are on Eventbrite right now. All righty, nothing but ass. You just got to be there. Got to see it to believe it. All right?
That's the type of women's basketball I could get into.
That might be what they need to do, playing lingerie.
I've been saying that for so long, man. On the Bench, we'll see you next week.